There are some more unknowns regarding the SIM card registration. This is becoming a hot issue, not because it's not good to do this or is good to do this, but not knowing what needs to be done to effect the registration. That's what we'll talk about. Stay with me. With this new SIM card registration, as I mentioned in my previous vlog, people, almost everybody who owns a cell phone in the Philippines will be required to register. And almost everybody, including beggars, people with no money, they have cell phones. So they will be affected by this new regulation because this will apply to everyone, including foreign tourists, dual citizens, non-citizens, foreigners, children. They will all be required to register under this act. So I have been watching out for what are the implementing regulations, and it's taking them a while, I guess. It's not going to be easy. For one thing, this will be implemented by the PTEs, the telephone companies like Smart, Globe, PLDT, and it requires some time to do this programming. But nevertheless, it's good because we have 180 days to get this thing accomplished. So let's take a look at the most recent information that I gathered. I got this most recent information from the Manila Bulletin announcement. It says here, SIM card registration is free and will be done online. That's good. No charge. Online. For most people who knows how to manipulate internet, that will be a lot simpler than going to some office to register. As the public asks more questions about the new law, the SIM Card Registration Act stated that end users do not have to pay for an additional fee when registering their SIM cards. This was after President Marcos signed Republic Act No. 11934 on Monday, October 10. Based on the signed law, a copy provided by Malacanang to reporters on Wednesday, October 12, the public does not have to pay anything when registering their SIM card. Good news. The registration required under this act shall be implemented at no cost to end users, Section 6 of the new law read. The registration should be accomplished electronically through a platform or website that public telecommunications entities, PTEs, will establish. So, Smart, Globe, PLDT, and many other PTEs will be the ones to establish this mechanism. Government agencies and PTEs will establish registration facilities to remote areas with limited telecommunications or internet access. So in the provinces where there could be some limited facilities, they will establish their registration facility. I don't know how complicated that's going to be. The new law mandates PTEs to include the data of existing postpaid subscribers in their in the SIM card register, their database to align with its registration requirement. The SIM Registration Act covers prepaid, postpaid, and eSIMs. The registration, I never heard of eSIMs. The registration period is within 180 days of the law's effective date. The Department of Information and Communications Technology may extend the registration period for another 120 days. So that could take a while. This week, Department of Information and Communications Technology Secretary Ivan John Uy said there was no prohibition as to how many SIM cards a person can register under their name. So you can register one under Smart, another one for PLDT. You can have a number of phones. Just to summarize, this was in my previous vlog. Registration requirements under the SIM Card Registration Act. Every public telecommunication entity, PTE, or direct sellers shall be required to demand end users of SIM cards present a valid certification document to validate their identity. So they need to identify themselves. Among the information required, full name, completed address, date of birth, sex, cell phone, a number of SIM cards, and serial number. The end user can present. So that's some form of limited information. end users can present any of the government-issued IDs or documents with a photo. Any. Not all of this, but just one. Driver's license, Philippine National ID, SSS, UMID card, passport, senior citizen card, NBI clearance, police clearance, firearms license, voter's ID, tax identification number, PRC, IBP, OWA, PWD, and let me see, other valid government photo ID. SIMs of minors will be registered under the name of the parent guardian provided there is a written consent to register the SIM. In my previous vlog, I did read that it has to be duly notarized. Meanwhile, foreigners must provide the following information: full name, nationality, passport number, address in the Philippines. If they're staying in a hotel, it's going to be the hotel's address. They must provide any of the following: their passport, proof of address in the Philippines, return ticket or departure ticket for tourists. Now, I don't know if this is all the documents or some of the documents, because the next one is alien employment permit. Not everybody has that. ACRI card. Not everybody has that if you're staying less than 30 days. School registration or ID for students. Non-students will not have that. Other pertinent documents. So, the question here, number one, is if they have a passport, proof of address, is the return ticket going to be required? Well, it says for tourists, so I guess for those staying 30 days, maybe even more. But for balikbayan, for example, who are no longer Filipino citizens, they're foreigners, they're staying longer than 1 year, they're not going to be tourists, so we need clarification on that. And of course, the rest of it are self-explanatory. If you don't have those, you don't have those. SIM cards of tourists shall only be valid for 30 days. That also needs clarification, because my understanding is this. You have a phone, you insert a SIM card, a physical SIM card, and then you just go for a load. You can ask for a load using the same SIM card. Are they saying here in effect that each SIM card, each month, 30 days, each month, they'll have to replace the SIM card? Or does it mean they have to register the load? That's another question. The law tells end users to inform the respective PTE if there are changes in their information, they lose their SIM card, or they request to deactivate them. For example, if you're already leaving the country. If an end user dies, the immediate family must immediately inform PTE. For these instances, the concerned end user SIMs will be deactivated within 24 hours from when the report was made. Regardless of the deactivation, the PTE will retain relevant information for 10 years. So that is the extent of what I found, but again, they still need clarification. For example, how about the SIM card of foreigners arriving in the Philippines? They have their own cell phone, they have a foreign SIM card. Is that covered by the regulation? Do I have to register that foreign SIM card? Of course, some of these telephones, you can use the SIM card for internet, but not necessarily for telephone. Now, I did hear that from some people that there are some cards that you can use for making phone calls in the Philippines. Do they need to be registered? That's another question. For minors, what is to stop a parent, or why should a parent go through this, getting this authorization and notary, and that's extra cost, and not to mention extra effort to be getting a notarized document. For example, if I have 10 children, why can I just not buy 10 SIM cards, 10 telephones under my name? Under my name. Or do they mean that each telephone has to be under the user's name, and therefore it has to be under the minor's name? That also requires clarification. So there are still some pending issues, and the implementing rules and regulations have not really come out yet, and it may be a while before they come out with this, because more and more questions will be coming up as the days come along. So hopefully the Philippine government will be able to accomplish what they want to achieve, such as reduction, if not complete elimination, of tax scams, and this will be good. But if it does not accomplish that, then this is just additional burden for the Philippine citizens and residents. So guys, I'll appreciate it. If you have any comments, you can put down below. Maybe you already read some regulations that I have not seen yet. And I'll appreciate it if you can share the link to me so that I can make an announcement to the public. And I'll appreciate it if you share this video with your friends, relatives, who I'm sure will be interested in this too. And hope you subscribe to my channel if you want to get an update on this subject matter. And please press the notification bell because you will automatically get notified when I have a new posting. Thank you so much for watching. Make it a great day, and God bless.